Good afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Chaffee here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. We're doing it live today because of all the severe weather that is occurring across the area. So we're going to get right to it and go right to the radar shot. And this is from the strong upper trough that is swinging eastward through the northeast. It's very sharp and very intense. We are seeing that temperatures shot up through the 50s to around 60 today. It's really more about the upper feature, which is so very strong, that is moving on through. And you can see that at least as of 2:25 Eastern time, we've got a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings that have popped up along with special marine warnings. Also, got a little fooled earlier on the radar with regards to what's going on in and around the elevated areas surrounding the Albany area. That is actually some wet snow that is showing up in the higher elevations, and we're also seeing a bit of snow that is falling in the Catskills. But this upper trough, again, very sharp, and some of the weather that's been occurring is on the intense side. And I see some of the folks on the chat board have pointed that out. Chi-Chi saying severe rain and raining bad in Jersey. Hi to everybody. This was just sort of a last minute thing I decided to do rather than just pre-tape it. So just going to the New York office here as of the Weather Service. You can see where there's severe thunderstorm warnings in the counties in northeastern New Jersey. There's a larger severe thunderstorm watch. Those storms were further to the west earlier, but now, of course, they've pushed eastward to New York City and extending also into parts of western Long Island. We've got a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings up the Hudson Valley, north of 84 in Dutchess County and in Litchfield County in Connecticut. And I just want to check. Let's just take a look at what's going on here up in the Albany area, where we saw Albany itself is 48 with rain. So it's in some of the surrounding mountainous terrain to the southwest toward the Catskills that we're seeing that wet snow. And in fact, on the Albany radar, actually, let me put it up this way. ENX. I thought let's try this. We'll try it this way. Okay, now, hang on. Radar, ENX. All right, that's the northeast. So this is the northeast view. Let's try radar, OKX. I'm doing this all on the fly right now, so just bear with me. There's the New York radar. And there's some look at those cells that are approaching coastal Monmouth and Ocean counties and on up toward about New York City, and that other strong cell that is moving into Dutchess and Columbia counties and points north and east over into north of Route 84 mostly. Not quite to Columbia County, I take that back, but Putnam, Dutchess, and on up into Litchfield County. Now let's see if I can get that Albany radar up for you. Okay, there we go, finally. Now there's the Albany local radar. So these are in thunderstorms that you're seeing there west and southwest of Albany down to Hunter Mountain. That's wet snow that is falling there. Probably in some places I wouldn't be shocked if it's snowing quite hard. So what we're seeing in terms of the upper air, I'll bring up the upper air flow so you can take a look at the 500 millibar map and look at this upper trough that is swinging through the east. Let's just roll it back. Sloppy show, folks, but what can I tell you? Sometimes I didn't have time to pre-plan anything, but right in there. So take a look at this from yesterday. There's the deep upper trough swinging across the Great Lakes. That was part of that big wrapped up upper low that you saw back up in Wisconsin yesterday. That's rotating around, opening up, and actually going negative right in here. Very, very sharp V shape in the upper atmosphere. Anytime you see that V shape, that's telling you that the upper trough is a powerhouse. and that's what's swinging through this afternoon. Now, once that goes by, it's going to lift out. And then we've got another upper trough that's coming through for Sunday night into Monday. This one not quite as sharp. Now there's cold air behind the first upper trough, so you're going to see temperatures take a stair step down tomorrow. Highs probably will have a tough time getting out of the 40s. And then you have this next trough that follows. That will come through Sunday night into Monday morning, and that's going to have some rain and wet snow with it. And in fact, for the first time, well, I was corrected. This is at least the first time that I've used it on one of my posts. But we're seeing snowfall forecast amounts of up to several inches or more in western New York and northwestern Pennsylvania, an inch or two in the Catskills, northeastern Pennsylvania, a coating to an inch. Again, elevation driven. So the higher up you are, the better chance you have of seeing some of this. And east of Lake Ontario, and some of this is going to be lake effect. There are going to be some pockets of 4, 5, 6 inches. They even have a 9 print up there in the Adirondacks. This is for tomorrow night and into early Monday morning. So we'll go back to the GFS map. Actually, I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go to the NAM. The NAM is going to have a better view here of what's happening with respect to the short range, in my view. Let me just roll this back, and you'll see the system that's coming through now. NAM's not doing a good job with the radar here, obviously, when you look at what's going on. This is the NAM at 2 o'clock this afternoon, okay? And again, you've got the radars, the way they are, in reality, are far more, showing a lot more coverage than what the NAM is showing. And certainly the model's not picking up well on the intensity with regards to some of those storms. This is not unusual when it comes to convective stuff. Then that lifts out, of course. And now during the day tomorrow, really not too much happens other than it'll be a bit on the breezy side. Again, not getting out of the 40s. And then here comes that next upper trough swinging to the east. You see that the model generates that wet snow in western PA, on up across northern to northeastern PA and into upstate New York. And then that eventually lifts on out and a low develops. This is actually a low the low dropping southeast from the Great Lakes dies out and a secondary forms well east of the New Jersey coast early Monday morning. And then that intensifies as it heads up towards Nova Scotia and beyond. So for the week ahead, we're looking, by the way, it's going to be a relatively uneventful week on the dry side. And then as we head toward the latter part of the week, we're going to see another cold front come through. And I don't know that there's going to be too much with this. So we're going to not get out of the 40s on Monday, not get out of the 40s on Tuesday. Little warm front goes by to our north on Wednesday, so we'll see temperatures probably back into the 50s Wednesday, and maybe even get up to near 60 on Thursday. Here comes a cold front for Thursday night. That produces a couple of showers Thursday night and goes by, and then it just looks dry and cold for Friday into next weekend. Now, another front looks to come through next Sunday night, and the overnight models were trying to show something for the day before Thanksgiving with a low coming up from the south. And the European, it was especially interesting because it was a lot colder than the other models were, but the day runs today really didn't show much of anything from that respect. It does show yet another cold front coming through the day before Thanksgiving with rain, and then cold and dry for Thanksgiving Day and the day after Thanksgiving. But I would caution here, we're at that period where the GFS and the European like to show things, show an event, and then it disappears for a day or so, only to have it come back. I think there's enough going on in the atmosphere to suggest that the models are going to be highly unstable. I want to take a look at the teleconnections here. You'll notice, by the way, that a lot of the members go negative on the North Atlantic Oscillation and sharply negative, actually, as we get toward the last days of the month. So usually when the NAO goes negative, the models have a much more difficult time grasping what is actually going on. And on the Pacific North America Index, or the PNA, we actually see that most of the members actually go back to neutral and spike positive for the middle part of the next week. So I think that's why the overnight model runs did what they did, showing that PNA going up to the positive side, which means a trough in the east and a ridge in the west, and the NAO going negative to, in some cases, strongly negative. So it seemed to have picked up on that on the overnight runs, but then it just really didn't follow through on the day side run. Again, that is something that you wind up seeing when that NAO goes negative and creates a very unstable, makes the models very unstable. And as far as what this looks like on the upper air, I want to go back to the overnight run here. And you'll see here, this is for the day before Thanksgiving. The GFS has, there's this front coming through on Sunday, and then a deep trough sharpening out and cutting off there Tuesday night into Wednesday in the Carolinas and Virginia, and moving northeastward just offshore. I mean, this is a fairly dynamic looking upper air from the overnight run. And then, of course, this is for Tuesday morning. Let's match it up to today's run, and you'll notice it's a lot different. It's much flatter. It doesn't have that deep trough at all. Instead, it has really a flat ridge here in the east. It seems to have energy down in the southern part of the trough in Texas that just kind of gets left there, and the north is not even involved yet. So I would again say let's take a look at what happens with these models over the course of the next couple of days, and then we can try to figure this whole thing out as we go into Thanksgiving week. So here I am. Okay. I'd like to see all your reports up there. Robert Russo, thank you for hitting the super chat tip jar. Most appreciated on this rather busy Saturday with severe weather in the middle of November. Now, it's been a rare thing, but it's a rare thing to have severe weather in November. But in recent years, it actually hasn't been. It's happened more than a few times in the last 10 or so years, where we've seen strong cold fronts and thunderstorms and severe weather. I can recall several instances that we saw. We've seen that. In fact, in a couple of cases, it happened a few days before we wound up getting accumulating snow. Now, we're not going to see that in the coastal plain, but I've been arguing for the idea of a front-loaded winter. Well, we're in the middle of November. It's still very early. But as we get toward Thanksgiving and beyond, maybe we'll have something set up then that will eventually play itself out. Okay. Yes. 70 in the Central Plains on Tuesday. Not unusual. The big warm-ups that occur in between these cold fronts this time of year, not that unusual. I think we've become overly sensitive now to the fact that we hear so much weather news, and we think that a lot of stuff that's happening is framed in a conversation that makes it sound like it's unusual. But in fact, if you look back at records, it isn't all that unusual. You're still at that time of year where things can warm up relatively quickly behind these cold air masses. Remember, the average high this time of year is only about in the New York City area is only about 55 or so. So it's not like it's down at 35. It's still up in the mid 50s, and by the end of the month, it's down to just about 50 or 49, and it still has a long way to go to hit bottom at the end of December and taking you through the month of January. So it's all part of the day-to-day process with the way weather loves to work. Okay. We're going to wrap it up here. The Joe and Joe Show tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and we'll review all of this and have a look at the week ahead and the long range, and we'll see what surprises the models bring us then. Thanks, everybody, for jumping on board this afternoon while all this is going on, and we'll hopefully see you tomorrow. That's at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Have a great rest of your afternoon.